Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
This episode is brought to you by Jira. Jira is the only project management tool you need to plan and track work across any team. So if you're a team of developers, Jira better connects you with teams like marketing and design, so you have all the information you need in one place. Plus, their AI helps you knock out the small stuff so you can focus on delivering your best work. Get started on your next big idea today in Jira.
With Uber Reserve, you can book your Uber ride in advance, 90 days in advance. Perfect for all you forward thinkers and planning gurus. Reserve your Uber ride up to 90 days in advance. Uber Reserve. See Uber app for details.
Welcome, everyone, to the G-Note Podcast. I am your host, as always, Jason Spicy G. Goldman, and I'm a Grammy-winning record producer, arranger, and musician. I've been a music professor at USC for over 22 years, and I am most known for writing and producing music for the iconic crooner Michael Bublé over the past 2 decades. This is a pod for musicians who want advice and strategies on navigating the music industry. If you're not a musician but a music fan, I promise there is plenty in here for you as well. On this pod, we talk all things music. On today's pod, we are talking about the pressures of being a musician and some tips on how to relieve that pressure. Let's go. What is happening, folks? Again, thanks for joining me. The pod continues to grow rapidly, and I'm really happy people are digging it. So let's jump in today. We are talking about the pressure of being a musician. And if you're listening and you are not a musician, I promise this probably applies to most jobs out there. There are pressures from the outside as well as internal pressures, of course. So I want to discuss both and offer some of the ways that I deal with them, and hopefully they will help you out. As musicians, there seems to always be constant pressure to be great at almost anything musical, in order to be successful. Pressure isn't always a bad thing, to be honest with you. Especially if you are a procrastinator, pressure could be a good thing to get you over the finish line, right? To get you a deadline. But the issue that I find musicians and students have is trying to skip steps in the journey to try and be unique and amazing quickly. And this typically does not yield great results and can lead to the dreaded burnout, as well as not having enough tools in your proverbial toolbox. It seems to me that, what causes a lot of the pressure is social media, right? No surprise there. I'm sure everyone at this point knows the dangers of social media. And I've said this on an earlier podcast, maybe about 4 or 5 episodes ago. What you see on the socials are just highlights. They rarely, if ever, show the journey, right? Because there would be way too many downs to show. You're only seeing their ups. So my first tip here is try and limit the amount of time you spend on socials. You can't cut it off completely because at this point, it's part of the machine, and we do need it to get the word out there about shows and, things that accomplishments. But you can certainly limit your usage of it and try to focus on what really matters, right? Which is life. By the way, we all know this, right? Social media is absolutely insanely addictive. You start with one reel, and then it realizes you spent enough time on that reel or whatever, and it continues to show you that so that you just stick on the platform. My wife got me hooked up with some of these people who pull these pranks on other people, and it just started showing me. And then I started to realize I was sitting on there for like 15, 20 minutes just watching people do these pranks. And I had to like go, whoa, I can't believe it got me. And it did. And it got my wife as well. And so we realized that. And so we've had to limit our time on there. I mean, I had to literally go out of my way to be like, okay, I'm getting off and I'm not going to go on until later in the day. So you'll notice in my last statement, I said life, not music. What matters is life, not music. And remember, music is not life. It reminds me of that, the Ted Lasso thing with one of the soccer players on there who says, football is life, but then finds out, at the end of the episode that it really isn't life. There's more to life than just playing soccer. Doing things outside of music can actually really help your music. Life experiences are not only amazing, but actually relieve a lot of pressure. They also help you relax and feed good energy into your music. You may get inspired by a landscape, a new city, or a culture that opens new doors for your music. And actually, folks, this is the key to being unique. This is the secret, really. All of your experiences and influence add up to equal, well, you. And that's the unique thing that you're going to be offering, hopefully, to the music is you. So whether you're traveling or playing games or things that are not involving music, those are more life experiences, and I think those are important. Another way to help relieve pressure or stress is real simple. And I'm sure a lot of people do this. Yoga people do this all the time. It's breathe. And I'm not even being funny here, right? Find a quiet spot and just focus on relaxing and breathing. I can tell you, as someone who wears a lot of hats, for my career, that this is so important. Personally, I rarely feel mentally stressed. And I know a lot of people do, so I know it's definitely a real thing. And I tell my wife this all the time. However, my body takes it out on me. I pull muscles, I get aches, I start to feel under the weather. And I always, like I said, I talked to my wife about it. She's like, well, maybe you need to calm down a little bit. And I'll be like, well, I don't, she'll say, maybe you're stressed. And I'll be like, well, I don't feel stressed. She's like, yeah, but maybe your body's taking it out on you. And I think she's 100% right. It just literally does. And it's your body telling you, hey, that's enough. You need to slow down. So while, again, I don't feel it mentally, most times my body will take it out on me. So I have to literally stop my day, take a 10-minute break, find a quiet spot and just breathe. And what I try to do is I try to just think of something that's really relaxing. And for me, that's usually Hawaii or a Hawaiian landscape. I just love Hawaii. And I feel better when I think of the landscape there, the mountains, the skies, and the water there. So that's one of the things that I do. Another tip for trying to relieve pressure, and this might sound a bit crazy, but if you're able to take a power nap, and, my wife, again, is probably laughing at this because I love the power nap. It literally can recharge you and relieves a ton of pressure almost immediately. It's like a new start to the day, but in the middle of the day. So I definitely recommend those. I find that if I am able to take one during a day for 10, 15 minutes, I'm like ready to roll and ready to go. And I'm way more productive when I do that. I mentioned this in another episode, but for me, because I'm doing so many things, again, in so many different genres, producing music, it could be jazz, rock, songwriter stuff, writing arrangements for big band orchestra, or even doing chair duties, for the USC Jazz Department. What relieves some pressure is creating a list of tasks and being able to cross them off. Man, do I love that feeling. There's something about crossing something off of a list that is really exciting for me. I mean, it really feels like I've accomplished something when I'm just like, done, did this, done. I really get a sense of relief, and I really do get a true sense of pressure kind of being relieved from my body. I can tell you that 100%. My final tip for this episode: stop trying so hard to be unique. And we've talked about this there was one other episode I did on uniqueness. But the uniqueness, as I mentioned, comes from experiences and your life. So stop worrying about being this new cutting edge thing, because honestly, it may take a long time to get there. And I'm not trying to discourage, right? I feel like we're all trying to, at some point, get there and trying to offer something new to the music. But sometimes it could take years and years and years. Sometimes it could take weeks and days, right? It depends, we know music stuff, who you know, right place, right time, all that stuff. But to me, it's about the journey. Let's do a quick recap. Limit social media time. Huge, huge, huge. You could set those little things on your phone to limit your social media time, actually. Second thing, live life. Go on a trip. Go see something that they've never seen. Go do something you've never done before. Third, breathe. Find a quiet spot away from people and just breathe for 10 minutes and focus on just something you think makes you really happy and not stressful. And again, I gave you my Hawaiian example, just the landscape there. And then the fourth thing I mentioned two more. The fourth thing was, taking a power nap. If you can, grab a power nap. And then that fifth thing is write yourself a list of tasks and be able to cross those tasks off, because it will really help. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today's episode. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this pod so you can stay up to date with new shows, giveaways, and more importantly, everyone, the concerts. My big band is always playing at the Vibrato Jazz Club here in Los Angeles. We have a holiday show coming up in December. You really should come. It's almost, matter of fact, every time it's been sold out. Both shows have been sold out, so you're going to want to get your tickets early. You can always follow me on Instagram at SpicyGMusic or check out my website, jasongoldmanmusic.com, to see what projects I'm currently working on and to see when I'll be performing next. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Much love. Peace.
The Kimi Kato Show, featured on Pantheon Podcasts.
The Kimi Kato Show is a weekly exploration of Japanese pop culture in all its facets. Kimi and Jeremiah, as hosts, delve into various aspects of Japanese culture, including music, food, fashion, and film, offering listeners a comprehensive and entertaining look at what makes Japanese pop culture unique and intriguing. It is your invitation to Japan.
Hey everybody, I'm Dan.
I'm Doug. We're in the band Hoobastank.
Hi, I'm Takato Miyake, working for Suntory Global Spirits.
Hello, I'm Sincere from Yusenke.
Hello guys, this is Masata Kumi.
This is Chris Hart.
Hi, I am Sugizo. You are listening to Kimi Kato Show. Thank you.
Kimi Kato Show is brought to you by Evolve Entertainment Network, Pantheon Podcasts, and Radio Candy Media.